The first time he saw her, she wasn't trying to impress anyone. That's what caught him off guard. Marcus Hale had built empires. He'd crushed competitors, turned failing companies into gold mines, and made grown men nervous with just a glance across a boardroom table. But on a cold Tuesday morning in November, standing in the emergency room of St. Catherine's Hospital with blood dripping from his hand, he forgot every ruthless thing he'd ever done. Because she walked past him. Just walked past. Dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Scrubs that had seen better days. Shoes that squeaked slightly on the polished floor. She carried a clipboard and moved with purpose, like she had somewhere important to be. She didn't look at him. Not once. Marcus Hale, the man who'd been on the cover of Fortune magazine 3 times, the CEO who controlled a billion-dollar company before he turned 35, stood there bleeding, and she didn't even notice him. He'd never wanted anyone's attention more in his entire life. Sir, we need to look at that hand. The young nurse at the desk was talking to him, but Marcus couldn't stop watching the woman disappear down the hallway. Who is she? He heard himself ask. The nurse blinked. I'm sorry. Marcus caught himself. Shook his head. Nothing. The hand. Right. But as they led him to a treatment room, he made a decision that would change everything. He would see her again, whatever it took. Please comment right away. I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from, so I can see how far my story has reached. 3 hours earlier, Marcus had been in his corner office on the 42nd floor, doing what he did best, winning. The Mitchell contract is done, his assistant Tom said, sliding papers across the desk. They agreed to everything. Marcus signed without reading. He never needed to read anymore. He knew every angle, every clause, every way to come out on top. What's next? Tom hesitated. There's the charity thing tonight. The hospital fundraiser your mother signed you up for. Marcus's jaw tightened. Cancel it. I can't. Your mother specifically said. I don't care what she said. She said you'd say that. Tom pulled out his phone and showed Marcus a text message. She said to tell you, your father would have gone. The office went quiet. Marcus stared at those words for a long moment. His father had died 2 years ago. Heart attack. Sudden. No warning. One day he was teaching Marcus a new negotiation strategy. The next day, he was gone. And the thing Marcus couldn't escape, the thing that haunted him at 3 a.m. when the city was dark and empty, was that he'd been in a meeting when his father collapsed. He'd been closing a deal. While his father was dying, Marcus had been shaking hands and celebrating. Fine, Marcus said quietly. I'll go to the fundraiser. But he never made it there. The bottle slipped from his hand in the kitchen that morning. Expensive whiskey his father had been saving for a special occasion. Marcus had been holding it, just holding it, remembering the day his father bought it. We'll drink this when you take over the company, his father had said, smiling. They never did. The glass shattered. Marcus reached down without thinking, trying to catch the bottle. The cut was deep. Blood everywhere. And that's how Marcus Hale, master of the universe, ended up in an emergency room, getting 7 stitches from a tired doctor who barely spoke, watching the hallway for a glimpse of the woman who'd walked past him like he didn't exist. Her name tag said Gray, just her last name. Marcus learned this when she finally entered his treatment room 2 hours later. Sorry for the wait, she said, not looking up from her chart. Busy morning. Her voice was softer than he expected. Calm, like she'd spent years learning how to keep steady when everything around her was chaos. I'm going to check your stitches, she continued. Make sure everything's healing properly. The doctor had an emergency, so I'm doing the follow-up. She still hadn't looked at him. Marcus, who'd given speeches to thousands, who'd negotiated billion-dollar deals, who'd never been nervous in his entire adult life, suddenly didn't know what to say. Okay, he managed. She pulled up a stool, finally raised her eyes, and stopped. Just for a second. Just the smallest pause. Then she blinked and went back to professional mode. But Marcus saw it. That flash of something. Hand, please. He extended his bandaged hand. She unwrapped it carefully, her fingers gentle but efficient. She smelled like hospital soap and something else. Coffee maybe, or vanilla. You did this catching a bottle? She asked, examining the stitches. Yeah. Must have been an important bottle. It was my father's. He had no idea why he said that. Marcus Hale didn't share personal information. Not with strangers. Not with anyone, really. She glanced up at him. Their eyes met, and for just a moment, the busy hospital disappeared. I'm sorry, she said softly. And the way she said it, she meant it. Not the automatic sympathy people gave. Real understanding. He passed away. Marcus found himself continuing. 2 years ago, I was supposed to drink it with him. Why was he telling her this? She nodded slowly, then went back to examining his hand. The wound is healing well. Clean edges. The doctor did good work. But Marcus heard the hesitation in her voice. She paused. But you're not taking care of it. You're using this hand for work, aren't you? Typing, writing, gripping things too hard. I have a company to run. And you'll run it a lot better if you don't give yourself an infection. She began rebandaging his hand. Take the rest of the week off. Let it heal. Marcus almost laughed. I can't take a week off. Why not? Because... He faltered. Why not? Because people depend on me. The people who depend on you will still be there in a week. She secured the bandage with tape. But if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be there for them at all. She stood up, made notes on her chart. Wait, Marcus said. She turned back. What's your first name? She raised an eyebrow. Why? Because you just gave me the first honest advice anyone's given me in 2 years. A small smile crossed her face. Just barely. Maya. Marcus. I know. Your name was on the chart. She moved toward the door. Take care of that hand, Marcus. And then she was gone. But this time, Marcus knew her name. Comment below, what would you do to see someone again after a meeting like this? Marcus did not take the week off. Of course he didn't. But he did something he'd never done before. He went back to the hospital, not to the emergency room this time. He wandered through the main entrance like a lost visitor, past the gift shop and the cafeteria, following the signs until he found the nurse's station on the 4th floor. Maya wasn't there. Can I help you? Another nurse asked. I'm looking for Maya. Gray. She treated me a few days ago. The nurse gave him a knowing look. She's on the night shift this week. 7 to 7. Marcus checked his watch. 2 in the afternoon. Thank you. He came back that night at 7:15. And there she was. She was standing at the nurse's station, writing something in a patient chart, her hair pulled back again, the same tired determination in her shoulders. Marcus approached slowly. You didn't take the week off, she said without looking up. He stopped. How did you? Because you're here. Now she looked at him. And your hand is probably hurting, which means you've been using it too much. She set down her pen. Let me guess. You need someone to look at it. Actually, I came to see you. The honesty of it hung between them. Maya's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Surprise, maybe, or caution. Why? Marcus had prepared a speech in his head. Something smooth, something clever. The kind of thing that had worked on every other woman he'd ever met. But standing there, under the fluorescent lights of a hospital corridor, with Maya looking at him like she could see straight through every defense he'd ever built, he told her the truth. Because you're the first person in 2 years who talked to me like I was human. Not a CEO. Not a name on a business card. Just a person. She studied him for a long moment. I'm working. I know. I'll be working until 7 tomorrow morning. I know that too. And you came anyway. Yeah. Another pause. Then Maya sighed, but it wasn't an annoyed sigh. It was something softer. There's a cafeteria on the second floor, she said. I take a break around midnight. They have terrible coffee, but it's better than nothing. Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. I'll be there. The cafeteria at midnight was almost empty. Just a few exhausted residents grabbing quick meals between emergencies, and an old man reading a newspaper in the corner. Marcus sat at a table by the window, 2 cups of coffee in front of him. Maya appeared at 11:58, still in her scrubs, looking even more tired than before. You actually came, she said, sliding into the chair across from him. I said I would. She picked up one of the coffees, took a sip, made a face. Told you it was terrible. The company makes up for it. She gave him that small smile again, the one that felt like winning the lottery. They sat in silence for a moment, not awkward silence, just quiet, the kind of quiet that felt comfortable, like they'd known each other longer than a few days. Can I ask you something? Marcus said, finally. Go ahead. Why did you become a nurse? Maya wrapped both hands around her coffee cup. My younger brother got sick when I was 16. Leukemia. We spent 2 years in and out of hospitals. She stared into her cup. The nurses were the only ones who made him feel like he was still himself. Still Daniel. Not just a sick kid in a bed. Did he? He's fine now. 24 years old. Works as a teacher. Drives me crazy every Sunday when he calls to make sure I'm eating properly. She smiled, but there was old pain behind it. But those 2 years, they changed everything. I saw what real care looked like. Not just medicine. Actual care. Seeing people. Remembering their names. Holding their hand when they're scared. Marcus felt something crack open inside his chest. That's why you didn't notice me, he said quietly. That first day. You weren't being rude. You were focused on someone who needed you more. There was a car accident that morning. 3 people. One of them was a little girl. Maya met his eyes. So no, I didn't notice the man with the cut hand who could wait. I'm not sorry about that. You shouldn't be. They looked at each other across the terrible cafeteria coffee. And Marcus realized something that terrified him. He was falling for her. Not the shallow attraction he'd felt before. Not the challenge of someone who didn't immediately fall at his feet. Real feelings. The kind that meant something. The kind that could hurt. I should get back, Maya said, checking her watch. But she didn't move. Maya. Yeah. Can I see you again? Not here. Somewhere that isn't a hospital. She hesitated. I don't date much. My job doesn't really allow for it. When's your next day off? Thursday. Have dinner with me Thursday. Nothing fancy. Just food and conversation. She studied him again with those eyes that saw too much. One dinner, she said finally. Marcus felt like he'd just closed the deal of his life. But Marcus didn't know, couldn't have known, that someone was watching. From across the cafeteria, hidden behind a newspaper, the old man had been listening to every word. He pulled out his phone, typed a message. He's making contact, just like you predicted. The response came back immediately. Good. Let him get close. Then we move. The old man folded his newspaper and stood up. In the corner of the page, just visible before he walked away, was a headline. Hale Industries whistleblower found dead. Investigation ongoing. Thursday came slowly. Marcus had never been nervous about a date before. He'd taken actresses to premieres, models to galas, corporate executives to five-star restaurants. But picking up Maya from her small apartment building in a neighborhood that definitely wasn't fancy, he felt like a teenager. She came down wearing a simple blue dress. No jewelry. Hair down for the first time. She was beautiful. "Hi," she said. "Hi." They stood there awkwardly for a second. So Maya said, "Where are we going?" Marcus had made a reservation at the most exclusive restaurant in the city. The kind of place with a 6-month waiting list. But looking at Maya, at her simple dress and her honest eyes, "Actually," he said, "I have a different idea. If you trust me." She tilted her head. "Should I?" "Probably not. I'm a ruthless CEO, remember?" That small smile again. "Okay, I'll trust you. Once." 20 minutes later, they were sitting at a small table in a diner that Marcus hadn't been to since he was a kid. Red vinyl booths, checkerboard floor, a jukebox in the corner playing something from the 70s. "This is..." Maya looked around. "Terrible." Marcus said, "I can still take you somewhere nice." "Perfect," she finished. "This is perfect." And she meant it. He could see it in her face. They ordered burgers and fries. Maya got a strawberry milkshake. Marcus couldn't remember the last time he'd eaten food like this. "Tell me something," Maya said, stealing one of his fries. "Why does a successful CEO look so miserable all the time?" "I don't look miserable." She raised an eyebrow. Marcus sighed. "Is it that obvious?" "You have this thing you do," Maya said, "when you think no one's watching. Your shoulders kind of collapse inward, like you're carrying something heavy." No one had ever noticed that. "My father," Marcus said slowly, "built the company from nothing. Worked 70-hour weeks. Missed birthdays, holidays, everything. But he did it because he believed he was creating something that mattered. He pushed a fry around his plate. When he died, I took over. And I realized I'd become exactly like him. Working all the time. No friends. No life. Just business. But you're good at it." "I'm excellent at it. That's the problem." Marcus looked up at her. "I spent my whole life learning how to win. I never learned how to just be." Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she reached across the table and touched his hand. Just her fingertips on his. "Maybe that's something you can learn," she said softly. The touch lasted only a second. But Marcus felt it long after she pulled away. They talked for hours. About everything and nothing. Maya told him about her brother's wedding last year, where she'd accidentally caught the bouquet, and spent the whole night dodging questions about her love life. Marcus told her about the first deal he ever made, selling baseball cards in 3rd grade for triple their value. "You've always been ruthless," Maya teased. "I prefer strategically minded." That's what ruthless people always say. Around 11, the diner started closing. They walked out into the cool night air. "I should get home," Maya said. "Early shift tomorrow." "I'll drive you." But neither of them moved toward the car. They stood there on the sidewalk, the diner's neon sign flickering above them. "Thank you," Maya said, "for tonight. For not taking me somewhere fancy and expensive where I'd have to pretend I knew which fork to use. Thank you for agreeing to come. For giving me a chance." She looked up at him. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Someone colder. Someone who saw people as tools." She smiled. "But you're not that. Not really. You're just someone who forgot how to be anything else." Marcus had been in thousands of negotiations. He'd learned to read people, to know exactly when to push and when to hold back. But he couldn't read this moment. He wanted to kiss her. Wanted it more than he'd wanted anything in years. But something told him, maybe her earlier words, maybe the gentle way she looked at him, that this wasn't that moment. Not yet. Good night, Maya. Good night, Marcus. She walked toward his car, and Marcus stood there, watching her go, feeling something unfamiliar bloom in his chest. It felt like the beginning of something real. Marcus didn't see the black sedan parked across the street, didn't see the camera lens pointed at him, didn't hear the click of the shutter as someone took photo after photo. Inside the sedan, a man lowered his camera. Got them, he said into his phone. He's definitely involved with her. The voice on the other end was cold. Perfect. Now we have our leverage. When do we move? Soon. Very soon. The sedan pulled away into the night, leaving Marcus standing there, completely unaware that he'd just put Maya in terrible danger. Drop a comment. Do you think Marcus is being set up? What's about to happen? The next 3 weeks were the happiest Marcus had been in years. He and Maya started seeing each other whenever her schedule allowed. Coffee before her shifts, late dinners after, long walks through the city at odd hours when she got off work. They talked about everything. Maya told him about her childhood, growing up with 4 siblings in a house that was always loud and chaotic. I learned to find peace in the noise, she said. That's probably why the hospital doesn't bother me. Marcus told her about being an only child, about the pressure he'd felt to be perfect, to never disappoint his father. Did you ever want to do something else? Maya asked one night. They were sitting on a bench by the river, watching the city lights reflect on the water. I wanted to be an architect, Marcus admitted. I used to draw buildings all the time. Design houses, skyscrapers, museums. Why didn't you? My father needed me. The company needed me. He shrugged. My dreams were smaller than his. That's what I told myself. Maya leaned her head on his shoulder. Such a simple gesture. But it made Marcus feel more cared for than anything in his entire life. Your dreams weren't smaller, she said quietly. They were just different. And different isn't wrong. Maya started leaving small marks on his life. A coffee mug at his apartment that she liked to use. Her favorite cereal in his cabinet. A book on his nightstand that she'd recommended. Marcus found himself leaving work earlier, taking calls from home, delegating tasks he'd normally handle himself. Tom noticed. Boss, are you feeling okay? His assistant asked one afternoon. You've left early 3 times this week. I'm fine. You're different. Marcus looked up from his computer. Different how? Tom hesitated. Happier, I guess. Less intense. Marcus thought about Maya, about the way she laughed at his terrible jokes, the way she touched his face when they kissed goodnight, the way she made him feel like he was more than just his job. Yeah, Marcus said. I guess I am. But he didn't tell Tom about Maya. Didn't tell anyone. Not because he was ashamed. Because she was his. Their time together was sacred. Private. Something that existed outside the corporate world that had consumed his life. He should have known better. Nothing stays private forever. It started with a phone call. Marcus was in his office, reviewing quarterly reports, when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Marcus Hale. Hello, Mr. Hale. The voice was male, smooth, almost pleasant. We need to talk about your father. Marcus went very still. Who is this? Someone who knows what really happened to him. Someone who knows it wasn't a heart attack. I'm hanging up. The nurse. Maya Gray. Pretty woman. Works the night shift. Lives on Oak Street. Apartment 4B. Marcus's blood went cold. Don't you dare. I'm not threatening her, Mr. Hale. I'm just letting you know that we've been watching. And we know you care about her. A pause. Which makes her very valuable to us. What do you want? Your father discovered something. Something about Hale Industries. Something that certain people paid him a great deal of money to bury. The voice hardened. But he didn't bury it. He documented it. And we believe you have those documents. I don't know what you're talking about. Then you'd better figure it out. You have 72 hours to find what your father hid. And when you do, you're going to give it to us. And if I don't, then Maya Gray is going to have a very unfortunate accident. Do you understand? The line went dead. Marcus sat frozen in his chair, phone still pressed to his ear. His father. Documents. Something buried. What had his father been hiding? And how had these people found Maya? Comment below. What do you think Marcus's father discovered? What's really going on? Marcus didn't sleep that night. He went through his father's old office, the one he'd kept locked since the funeral. Boxes of papers. Files. Business deals from decades ago. Nothing. He searched his father's old computer. Encrypted files. Yes, but nothing that seemed relevant. Nothing about buried secrets. Nothing about payoffs. Dawn came. Marcus was no closer to answers. His phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Morning. Coffee before my shift. Marcus stared at the message. Every instinct told him to keep her away, to protect her by pushing her out of his life. But another part of him, the part that had been alone for so long, couldn't bear to let her go. He typed back. Yes. Same place. See you there. The coffee shop was quiet. Early morning. Just a few people grabbing drinks before work. Maya sat across from him, concerned. You look terrible. Did you sleep? Not much. What's wrong? Marcus wanted to tell her, wanted to share the burden. But how could he explain that just knowing her had put her in danger? Just work stress, he said. Maya didn't believe him. He could see it in her eyes. Marcus. She reached across the table, took his hand. Talk to me. Whatever it is, you don't have to carry it alone. He looked at their joined hands. Her fingers were so small compared to his, so delicate, and he'd put them in danger. Maya, His phone rang. Unknown number again. Maya saw his face change. Who is it? I need to take this. He stood up, stepped away from the table. 48 hours left. Mr. Hale. Have you found anything? I'm looking. Look harder. Clock's ticking. And by the way, the voice turned cruel. That coffee shop you're in right now? The one with the blue awning. We can see you. Marcus's head snapped up. He scanned the street outside. You see how easy this is, the voice continued. We're always watching. There's nowhere you can hide her. So find what we want, or she disappears. The line went dead. Marcus stood there, phone clenched in his hand, fear and rage burning through him. Someone was watching them right now. He went back to the table, sat down, tried to keep his voice calm. Maya, I need you to do something for me. She studied his face. What's going on? I need you to take a few days off work. Go visit your brother. Or your parents. Just leave the city for a little while. Marcus, you're scaring me. Please, trust me. Not until you tell me what's happening. They stared at each other. And Marcus made a decision. She deserved the truth. Someone is threatening you, he said quietly. Because of me. Because they think I have something they want. And they're willing to hurt you to get it. Maya's face went pale. What? I'm being watched. We're being watched right now. And I need you somewhere safe until I figure this out. Figure what out? Who are these people? I don't know. But they said something about my father. About him discovering something before he died. Marcus gripped her hand tighter. Maya, please. I can't let anything happen to you. She was quiet for a long moment, processing. Then she squeezed his hand back. Okay, she said. I'll go to my brother's. But Marcus, promise me you'll be careful too. I will. And promise me you'll tell me everything once this is over. He looked into her eyes. I promise. They left the coffee shop together. Marcus drove her back to her apartment, checked every corner, every shadow. "Pack a bag," he said. "I'll wait here." Maya disappeared into her building. Marcus stood on the street, scanning for any sign of surveillance. His phone buzzed. A text message. No number. Just a photo of Maya walking into her building, taken seconds ago. And below it, smart move. But it won't save her. Marcus called Tom. "I need you to find someone for me. A security expert. The best. Someone who can find out who's following me." "Boss, what's going on?" "Just do it. Now." 2 hours later, Marcus was sitting in a secure room with a man named James, who looked like he'd been in special forces. "Tell me everything," James said. Marcus explained. The phone calls, the threats, his father, the documents. James listened, taking notes. "Your father," James said finally. "What exactly did he do at Hale Industries?" "He was CEO. He built the company from nothing." "But what did the company actually do? Specifically?" Marcus frowned. "Manufacturing, defense contracts, tech development, defense contracts." James underlined something, "which means your father had access to classified information, government secrets." The pieces started clicking together in Marcus's mind. "You think my father discovered something classified?" "I think your father discovered something someone in the government didn't want discovered, and they paid him to bury it." James looked up. "But if he documented it, instead, if he kept proof, then he became a liability." "You're saying they killed him?" "I'm saying a healthy man having a sudden heart attack is convenient, especially if he knew something dangerous." Marcus felt sick. His father hadn't died, naturally. He'd been murdered. "So these people," Marcus said slowly, "they think I have whatever evidence my father kept. And they want it destroyed. Or they want to make sure no one ever finds it." James leaned forward. "Mr. Hale, this isn't just about money or business. This is about people who make problems disappear. Permanently. Including Maya. Including anyone who gets in their way." Marcus stood up, paced. "So how do I find what my father hid? How do I protect Maya?" "First, we need to find those documents. They're our only leverage. Without them, you have nothing to bargain with." "I've looked everywhere. His office, his computer, his—" Marcus stopped. A memory surfaced. His father, 6 months before he died. They'd been having dinner. His father had seemed distracted, worried. "Marcus," he'd said, "if anything ever happens to me, there's something you need to know. Your mother's necklace. The one I gave her on our wedding day. It's more than just jewelry." Marcus had laughed it off. "Dad, nothing's going to happen to you." But his father had gripped his arm. "Promise me you'll remember. The necklace. It matters." "The necklace." Marcus looked at James. "I think I know where he hid it." Marcus's mother lived in a house outside the city. The same house where Marcus had grown up. He drove there late that night, James following in a separate car. His mother answered the door in her robe, confused. "Marcus? It's almost midnight." "What's?" "Mom, I need Dad's necklace. The one he gave you on your wedding day." She blinked. "Why?" "Please. I'll explain later. But I need it now." Something in his voice must have convinced her. She disappeared upstairs, came back a few minutes later with a small box. Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a heart-shaped locket. "Your father gave this to me 40 years ago," his mother said softly. "I haven't opened it since he died. It felt wrong somehow." Marcus took the locket carefully. It was heavier than it looked. "May I?" His mother nodded. Marcus opened the locket. Inside, where there should have been photos, was a tiny USB drive. "Oh my God," his mother whispered. Back in the secure room, Marcus plugged the USB drive into James's laptop. The files were encrypted. It took James 20 minutes to crack them. And then they were looking at documents, hundreds of pages, military contracts, test results, incident reports. What is this? Marcus breathed. James scrolled through, his face getting darker. Your father was overseeing the production of a new weapons system, something called Project Nightfall. But according to these documents, he pointed at a report. The system was unstable, dangerous. It failed 3 separate field tests, caused casualties. Casualties? Soldiers died, Mr. Hale, because the weapon malfunctioned. James kept scrolling. And look at this. Your father documented everything. He reported the failures to the Department of Defense, recommended the project be shut down. But it wasn't. No. Instead, James pulled up an email chain. Someone high up in the DoD ordered the test results buried, paid your father $5 million to sign off on the weapon anyway, to say it was safe. Marcus read the emails. His father's responses. His father had refused the money, had said he wouldn't lie about something that put soldiers' lives at risk. And 2 weeks later, he died of a heart attack. They killed him, Marcus said numbly, because he wouldn't cover up their mistake. And now they want these documents destroyed. Because if this gets out, if anyone knows the DoD knowingly deployed a faulty weapon system that killed American soldiers, it would be the biggest scandal in decades. They sat in silence. Marcus thought about his father, about the man who'd worked 70-hour weeks, who'd missed birthdays and holidays, who Marcus had thought cared about nothing but business. His father had died protecting the truth. So what do we do? Marcus asked. James looked at him seriously. You have 2 options. Give them the drive and hope they leave you alone. Though honestly, they'll probably kill you and Maya anyway. You're witnesses. Or we release everything. Send it to every major news outlet. Make it public before they can stop us. James paused. But if we do that, you're declaring war on some very powerful people. Your life will never be the same. Marcus thought about Maya, about the way she looked at him, about the person he'd started to become around her, the person his father would have been proud of. How long until we can release it? Marcus asked. I need maybe 6 hours to make copies, set up dead man switches, ensure it can't be suppressed. Do it. James nodded, started working. Marcus pulled out his phone, called Maya. She answered on the first ring. Marcus, are you okay? I'm fine. Are you at your brother's? Yes. He's driving me crazy asking questions, but I'm safe. A pause. Did you find what you were looking for? Yeah, I found it. And Marcus closed his eyes. And I found out my father was a better man than I ever knew. And I found out what I need to do to keep you safe. Marcus, you're scaring me again. I know. But Maya, whatever happens in the next few days, I need you to know something. What? Meeting you changed my life. You made me remember who I wanted to be, who I could be. Her voice went soft. Marcus, what are you about to do? The right thing. Finally. Marcus didn't hear the door open behind him, didn't realize someone else had entered the secure room until James made a small, choked sound. Marcus spun around. Tom stood there, his assistant, the man he'd trusted for 5 years. And Tom was holding a gun. I'm sorry, boss, Tom said quietly. I really am. Marcus felt the world tilt. Tom, what are you doing? My job. My real job. Tom kept the gun steady. Did you really think it was coincidence that I showed up in your life right after your father started asking questions? That I was just a lucky hire? You've been watching me this whole time. Watching. Reporting. Making sure you stayed focused on business and didn't go digging into your father's death. Tom's face was apologetic but firm. You were supposed to just take over the company. Run it. Make money. not become a problem like your father did. James started to move. Tom shifted the gun toward him. Don't. I don't want to hurt anyone, but I will. Tom, please, Marcus started. The USB drive. Hand it over. Now. Marcus looked at the drive, still plugged into the laptop. All his father's evidence. The truth about what happened. If he gave it up, Maya would be safe. But soldiers had died. His father had died. And the people responsible would never face justice. No, Marcus said. Tom's face hardened. Don't be stupid. They'll kill her. They'll kill you. This isn't worth it. It's exactly worth it. Marcus, my father died protecting the truth. I'm not going to destroy it to save myself. Tom raised the gun higher. I don't want to shoot you, but I have orders. Give me the drive, or I will. The room went silent, and then James moved. Comment below, what do you think happens next? Can Marcus survive this? James hit Tom from the side, fast and hard. The gun went off. The bullet missed Marcus by inches, embedding in the wall behind him. Tom and James crashed to the floor, struggling. James was bigger, trained, but Tom fought with desperate strength. Marcus lunged forward, grabbed the laptop, yanked the USB drive free. Another gunshot. The laptop screen shattered. Run! James shouted at Marcus. Get it out! Release it! Tom threw James off, scrambled for the gun. Marcus ran, out of the secure room, down the hallway, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might explode. Behind him, another gunshot. Then silence. Marcus didn't look back. He hit the stairwell, took the stairs 3 at a time. The USB drive clutched in his fist. His phone was ringing. Unknown number. He ignored it. Ground floor. Marcus burst out into the night. A black sedan screeched to a halt in front of him. Men in suits started getting out. Marcus changed direction, ran the opposite way. More footsteps behind him. His phone kept ringing. He ducked into an alley, pressed himself against the wall, breathing hard. The phone buzzed. A text. You can't run, Mr. Hale. We're everywhere. Give us the drive, and this ends. Marcus looked at the USB drive in his hand. Such a small thing. His father's entire legacy on a piece of metal and plastic. Another text. Think about Maya. Do you really want her to suffer for your pride? Marcus's hands shook. Then his phone rang again. Different number. He recognized it. Maya. He answered. Maya, are you? Marcus. Her voice was terrified. There are men here. At my brother's house. They have guns. They're saying. The phone was yanked away from her. A different voice came on. The smooth voice from before. Hello again, Mr. Hale. I believe we have something you care about. Don't hurt her, Marcus said through clenched teeth. Please. She has nothing to do with this. Then give us what we want. You have 30 minutes to arrive at the address I'm about to text you. Bring the drive. Come alone. Or Maya dies, along with her brother, his wife, and their 2 small children. The line went dead. Marcus slumped against the wall. He tried to protect her, tried to do the right thing, and now Maya was going to die because of him, unless he gave up everything his father had died protecting. Marcus stood in that alley for a long time. He thought about his father, about the man who'd chosen principle over profit, who died rather than compromise his values. He thought about Maya, about her smile, her kindness, the way she'd made him feel human again. And he thought about the soldiers who died because someone had lied, about justice, about truth. What would his father do? What would Maya want him to do? His phone buzzed. The address. An abandoned warehouse by the docks. Of course. Marcus looked at the USB drive one more time. Then he started walking. But Marcus didn't go straight to the warehouse. First, he stopped at an internet cafe, used a public computer. He uploaded every single file from the USB drive to 6 different cloud storage services, set them to automatically release to every major news outlet in 6 hours unless he entered a code. A dead man's switch. If he didn't survive this, the truth would still come out. Then he made one more call. Detective Morrison, this is Marcus Hale. I have information about a murder. My father's murder, and I need your help. He explained everything, sent the detective copies of the files, told him where he was going. Mr. Hale, do not go to that warehouse alone. I have to. They have someone I care about. Then wait for backup. We can. There's no time. But detective, if anything happens to me, make sure those files get released. Make sure everyone knows the truth. He hung up before the detective could argue. Then Marcus Hale, CEO, billionaire, ruthless businessman, walked toward an abandoned warehouse where dangerous men waited. He was terrified, but he was also, for the first time in his life, completely sure he was doing the right thing. Comment. Would you risk everything for someone you love? What would you do? The warehouse was dark, empty, smelled like rust and old oil. Marcus's footsteps echoed on the concrete floor. Hello, he called out. Lights came on, blinding. When Marcus's eyes adjusted, he saw them. Maya was tied to a chair in the center of the space. Her brother, Daniel, next to her, also bound. Both looked terrified but unharmed. Around them stood 5 men, professional, armed, and in front of them, stepping into the light, was a man in an expensive suit. He was older, maybe 60, with gray hair and cold eyes. Mr. Hale, the man said, thank you for coming. Do you have what we want? Marcus held up the USB drive. Let them go first. I don't think you're in a position to negotiate. Then shoot me, but you won't get the drive. The man studied him, then smiled. You're braver than your father. He begged at the end. Marcus felt rage burn through him. You killed him. Your father was a fool. We offered him a fortune to look the other way. Instead, he threatened to expose everything. What did he think would happen? He thought the truth mattered. The truth. The man laughed. The truth is that soldiers die in war. A few more deaths from equipment failure changes nothing, but destroying confidence in our military, causing a scandal that would gut our defense budget, weaken our national security, that would cause real harm. You're insane. I'm a patriot. Sometimes patriots have to make hard choices. The man extended his hand. The drive. Now, then you and your girlfriend can leave. You'll kill us anyway. Probably. But you'll definitely die if you don't hand it over. At least this way, there's a chance. Marcus looked at Maya. She was crying silently, but when their eyes met, she shook her head slightly. Don't give it to them. She was saying, don't let my father die for nothing. Your father, she mouthed. Marcus felt something break open in his chest. She was right. No, he said. The man's face went dark. What? I said no. You're not getting the drive. And you're not getting away with what you did. Then you're all going to die. Starting with her brother. One of the armed men moved toward Daniel, raised his gun. Everyone froze. The sirens got louder, closer. The man's face went white. What did you do? I called the police. Marcus said, about 20 minutes ago. Told them everything. Sent them copies of all the files. You're bluffing. Am I? Because those sirens sound pretty real. The warehouse doors burst open. Police, drop your weapons. Everything happened at once. The armed men scattered. Some dropped their guns. Some tried to run. The man in the suit pulled out his own weapon aimed it at Maya. Marcus didn't think. He ran, threw himself in front of her just as the gun went off. The impact hit him in the shoulder. Pain exploded through his body. But he stayed standing, long enough to see police officers swarm the warehouse, long enough to see the man in the suit being forced to the ground, handcuffed, long enough to see Maya's horrified face as she screamed his name. Then Marcus collapsed. Marcus woke up in a hospital bed. Everything hurt, but he was alive. Hey! He turned his head. Maya was sitting in the chair next to his bed. She looked exhausted. Beautiful. Hey, he managed. You idiot, she said, but her voice was shaking. You absolute idiot. You almost died. But I didn't. The bullet was 2 inches from your heart. Guess I got lucky. Maya made a sound between a laugh and a sob. Lucky? Sure. That's what we'll call it. She took his hand, held it tight. They arrested everyone, she said after a moment. The man who shot you, his whole team. And the files you released, Marcus, it's everywhere. Every news channel. The government is already launching investigations. You did it. We did it. No, you did. You could have given them the drive. Could have saved yourself. But you didn't. I couldn't let them get away with killing my father, with killing those soldiers. Maya squeezed his hand tighter. Your father would be proud of you. Marcus felt tears sting his eyes. He'd spent 2 years carrying guilt about his father's death, believing he should have been there, should have somehow prevented it. But now he understood. His father hadn't died in vain. He died protecting something important, and Marcus had finished what his father started. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For making me remember who I wanted to be. For seeing something in me worth caring about. Maya leaned forward, rested her forehead against his. I saw everything worth caring about, from the very first day. They stayed like that for a long moment, just breathing together. Then Maya pulled back slightly. The doctor says you'll be here for a week, at least. Then another month of recovery. Guess you'll be stuck taking care of me. Guess so. She smiled. Think you can handle having a nurse around full time? I think I can manage. Good. Because you're not getting rid of me, Marcus Hale. You're stuck with me now. Promise. Promise. He pulled her closer, kissed her gently. And for the first time in 2 years, Marcus felt something he'd thought he'd lost forever. Peace. 6 months later, Marcus stood in front of Hale Industries headquarters. But he wasn't going inside. He was holding a set of blueprints. Designs for a new building. A memorial center dedicated to his father and the soldiers who died in the Project Nightfall scandal. Maya stood beside him, her hand in his. You sure about this? She asked. Marcus looked up at the building. He'd sold the company 3 months ago, used the money to set up a foundation for military families, to fund investigations into defense contractor fraud, to make sure what happened to his father, what happened to those soldiers, never happened again. He'd also used some of it to start a small architecture firm. Because Maya was right. His dreams hadn't been smaller than his father's. Just different. And different wasn't wrong. I'm sure, Marcus said. They walked away from Hale Industries together. Marcus didn't look back. He didn't need to. His future wasn't behind him anymore. It was right here, holding his hand, smiling at him like he was the most important person in the world. So, Maya said as they walked, your mom invited us to dinner tonight. Fair warning, she's going to ask about grandchildren again. Marcus laughed, actually laughed. What should we tell her? That we're taking things one day at a time. That we're happy. That we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Sounds perfect. They reached his car. But before getting in, Marcus turned to Maya. I love you, he said. I don't think I've said that yet. But I do. I love you. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Happy ones this time. I love you too, even though you're an idiot who jumps in front of bullets. Especially because I'm an idiot who jumps in front of bullets. She kissed him. And in that kiss was everything they'd been through. Every risk, every fear, every moment of falling for each other. When they pulled apart, Maya wiped her eyes. So what now? She asked. Marcus looked at the blueprints in his hand, looked at the woman beside him, looked at the future stretching out ahead of them, full of possibility. Now, he said, now we build something beautiful. And they did. Later that night, Marcus sat in his apartment, looking at an old photo of his father. He thought about everything that had happened, about loss and love, about courage and truth, about a nurse who'd walked past him without looking and changed his entire life. His phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Thank you for today. For every day. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Marcus smiled, typed back. You saved my life. In every way a person can be saved. He set the phone down, looked at his father's photo one more time. I hope I made you proud, Dad. He whispered. I finally figured out what really matters. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life living for the right things. Outside his window, the city lights glowed. Somewhere out there, Maya was probably getting ready for her shift, putting on her scrubs, tying back her hair, getting ready to help people who needed her. And tomorrow, Marcus would be there when she got off work, with coffee, and the rest of his life to spend loving her. Because that's what mattered now. Not empires or money or power. Just love. Real, honest, brave love. The kind worth fighting for. The kind worth risking everything for. The kind that saves you. The end. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. Comment below and tell me, have you ever met someone who changed your entire life? What happened? And subscribe for more stories about love, courage, and second chances. Because everyone deserves a story like Marcus and Maya's. Everyone deserves to be saved. Thanks for watching.